Good evening, everyone. Welcome to ForumIAS. Okay. So, have you all under geography optionals? Have you all taken your foundationals? You all are preparing. Did you all appear for this year prelims? Okay. No issue. It's a up and down journey. Okay. So, you all are chalo, aiming for 2027. Chaliye. So, you see, this course that we have designed is specifically for 2027. Okay. Right now, you see, what happens is that now since the prelims is over, and now the journey is next year. Okay. Next year, consider May. So now you see the key to this exam is optional. Okay. Optional is the key. So now you see the focus for the complete preparation should be from July to December should be 70% tilted towards optional. Okay, 70%. 30% you see it is general studies. Consider I could say ki chalo better to say consider this as November. Okay, and consider ki if you are scared 60%. And within this 40%, I will continue to follow GS1, GS2, GS3, whatever. But if optional is not commanded by the end of November or December, you see, by the time January arrives, the knock in the head begins that prelims aa raha hai, prelims aa raha hai, prelims aa raha hai. And if you have not cleared prelims, the point is that that very anxiety accentuates in your mind. Okay. So now if I want to have a peaceful journey and a peaceful preparation in the coming months, that is from December, January, February, I need to ensure that I have a good command over my optional in the coming months. So right from today, right from tomorrow, your focus should be strong optional. So let us see. Basically, what is optional? You see, this against other subjects or relative to other subjects, geography has so many concepts. Like you see, I can ask you, tell me what is isolated state. Tell me what is critical isotopane. Or tell me what is preconditions to take off Rostov stage. Or you tell me what is Nappe structure. Or you tell me what is Holling's resilience theory. So you see, there are numerous, I can keep counting and I can say that I can go beyond 200 such key terms which a candidate must have a conceptual clarity. So here basically in the AWSM classes, okay, we will give you conceptual clarity. Like here, if I will not teach you how to write answer, okay, rather apart from this, I will teach you, but here consider that I am teaching you for mine. If I am teaching for mine today, which we will see, so for mine, first we will see what is the definition. Definition is as per the IFC phase 5, okay, International Food Classification. Then we will see what are the theoretical basis of famine. In the theoretical basis, we will see FAD of Malthus. We will see Michael structuralist Michael Watt's space of vulnerability. And then we will see Amartya Sen entitlement theory. So basically here, and then we will see if I have to talk about famine, it further needs to be broken down into temporal, it further needs to be broken down into spatial. So in AWSM classes, our focus will be on giving you case studies, where I will give you case studies, and our focus will be to study these, where you understand exactly what are they and how am I supposed to deploy them in the paper. ये जब तक clarity नहीं होगा, you will not deploy them able to deploy them in paper 2. Okay, so in AWSM classes, my real focus will be to pick up small, all difficult concepts as much as possible within 2.5 to 3 hours and discuss these concepts. And within those, I will teach you how to write case studies as well. Next is that once we have done AWSM classes, before this you will get a blueprint. Blueprint is something considered that you may not have people who will join and who have not undertaken foundation classes or who do not have any notes in hand. For them, this is going to be healthy. Or people, even if you have foundational notes, go through them and see how these blueprints can enhance the notes. Once you have read the blueprint, once you have done the AWSM classes, the journey move towards dot. 35 dots. This means 35 into 7 dots. And within this, 50% is going to be PYQ. So extensive answer writing. I have read the concept and now I will here, once you have the conceptual clarity, here your purpose is to incorporate these concepts in your answers. Okay, now once I have read famine, okay, these theories. Now if I have given a separate type of question, okay, why do famines occur despite aggregate food supply in the economies? Examine. So now you see we studied differently. Now the question has been twisted differently. So here you will deploy your acumen to incorporate these learnings in DAWT tests. Here you will get extensive solutions. In solutions you will plus discussions. Here you will find the solutions to be extensive. This year ranked 39, Rohin. Okay. He extensively studied the solutions that we provided. We refine our solutions and we create the answers very specific, okay, with numerous case studies, recent data and reports. Once you have written the dot, then there is a technical team, our evaluation team, who will ensure that your content gets evaluated more on the technical basis as it is optional, right? That is how we are supposed to see. And once you have copies evaluated, if you want mentorship, if you have any genuine doubt that why such evaluation, how am I supposed to write the structure, if you are failing to write structures, if you are failing to incorporate diagrams, if you are not able to incorporate models, if your language is not becoming technical, rather it is becoming flat as general studies, it is here mentorship and the suggestions during copy evaluation which will benefit you immensely. Once you have done this, now there is full simulation. Now I am ready with all small concepts. I have written numerous questions, 6, 7, 7, 7, almost alternate days, 3 to 4 days gap. I have my copy evaluated. I have undertaken mentorship. Now complete revision tests. This means here you will have a full length test, like a proper simulation of paper. Okay, some questions will be repeated in a different way. The essence remains the same so as to you cement or consolidate your learning here. But here few questions will be a bit twisted, probable, predictive, so that you understand how to maneuver in the paper when the paper itself is on the difficult side. Okay, so basically this is how the journey of from concept to confidence is our aim. Okay, so basically our aim is to, from first principles, we will learn all the basic principles and then through these principles we will become exam ready. Okay, next, you see basically what kind of aspirants should join? People who have undertaken geography as their optional or maybe in their graduation, but has never undertaken any foundation classes. This is the best for you to develop your complete content which is UPSC aligned, not college aligned. This is the course. Okay. Next, who did not clear prelims 2026 and may now end up wasting their time. Okay, this is how what happens. The people who have not cleared, they may end up wasting their times, and by the time November strikes, it is already too late. Now GS, prelims, optional, everything simultaneously striking you. Okay? So basically, these are those people, if you really want to deploy your time efficiently in the coming 4 to 5 months, extensive writing, this is the course. And people who are struggling with answer writing, people who have undertaken foundation, who have even given mains, but are scoring 99 marks, 90 marks, 101 marks. So basically, who still have not understood how to do answer writing. Okay, you may understand how mountain is built, okay, but how to write it technically is a challenge and is a mastery in itself. Okay, those who understand the syllabus but finds difficult translating knowledge into structured scoring and scoring answers difficult. Okay, and then who are weak on models and concepts, like you see the concept of critical isodepine. If I ask you, tell me, how do you see the movement or mobilization of industries based on the concept of critical isodepine in present times? Like current affairs, you all know that the industries are shifting, supply chains have disrupted due to COVID-19 pandemic, Russia-Ukraine war, Iran-USA war. So now the supply chain is changing. So exactly how am I going to see the concept of critical isodepane here? That is, you know model, yet you don't know how to use the model. समझ में आ रहा है? ये ज्योग्राफी में सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम यही है कि सबको पता है कि लैंड, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन, लेबर, एग्लोमरेशन आर द थ्री इन Weberian philosophy. But when it comes to translate it into paper, or when I'm reading a newspaper, and if I have to see that how am I supposed to see it from the geographical prism, it becomes very difficult. Like you see, वॉन थ्यूनन लैंड रेंट थ्योरी. तो वॉन थ्यूनन के लैंड रेंट का दो सबसे बड़ा विजडम क्या है, क्या बोलती है? What does the von Thunen land rent theory speaks? In simple brief keyword, you tell me. First is pattern of land use around the market, and the second is intensity of land use around the market. So one is pattern. Pattern matlab hai ki I am talking about the design. The design. And second, what we are talking about? Second, we are talking about the intensity. Intensity means ki what are the inputs that we are going to deploy? Pesticide, labor, technology, सुनाओ मुझे कहाँ तक आवाज है? ऑन है? चलिए, लेट्स बिगिन. Okay, sorry for the technical glitch. So basically we were like, what kind of inputs are we going to deploy? So this was the intensity. What we were discussing about, that how does the pattern of land use in India gets designed, and what are the factors that drives them? What important is the role of market? Okay. So you see, this is Delhi. Someone asked that, you see, and this is Aravallis. This is Delhi. This is. Can I say around Delhi, the zone 1 of Von Thunen gets reflected? Yes, in market gardening. Okay, yes. But this is Delhi. This is Aravallis. Aravallis, you see, is witnessing heavy deforestation. Nobody is undertaking afforestation so as to provide wood supply here. But here, what was the zone 2 of Von Thunen? Here they were growing for timber. Why timber? Why timber was grown here? First, can I say in temperate regions the demand of timber is high? But why timber growing here? Timber was grown here because of this very factor, intensity. Okay, the factor is that the cost of transportation, if I would have cultivated timber here, the transportation cost would have increased because timber is heavy. So as to reduce the transportation costs, the timber rather than away moved towards zone 2 of Von Thunen. So basically this is how we're supposed to talk about models and concepts. Okay. Can I say that here there are another ideas, concepts like the concepts of compage. What is compage? 2017 they have asked this question, 2016. So now if you have the idea of what is regional geography, what is areal differentiation? Bataiye, what is areal differentiation? Areal differentiation. चलिए, ठीक है. You see, basically areal differentiation itself, you see, if you see AD means areal means area, and differentiation means differences, uniqueness. So areal differentiation is nothing but to highlight how two different regions are different and unique. Okay, so how the uniqueness of region A and how the uniqueness of region B brings the differences between these two regions. So can I say that the idea of areal differentiation has moved? Earlier we were saying that if I have gone to A, I will say, okay, there is only river. There are only mountains. Here I will say no river. Here there is lake. Here there is plateau. So it was mere objective view of regions. Okay, mere inventorization of facts. Then if you will see, the Hettner, that the debate between choreography and choreology, he says that this is mere choreography, that is description of facts. Rather, we should move towards choreology. Choreology means we should begin to establish relationship between these elements, both physical factors, both human factors. And then we should try to establish a real uniqueness of this region. And thus the concept of a real differentiation, as per Hartshorne, becomes the core foundational basis of our geography, which we will see that Schaeffer will decline, Schaeffer will debate. We'll see this. Moving ahead. So your learning journey every week, how you, in the coming 4 to 5 months, how the journey is going to be. The AWSM classes, okay, the topics taught, will converted into probable questions within a stepwise answer framework. Okay, this will move into DOT. Okay, 7 questions will be given to you, which will be timed to test practice exam speed writing. Okay, here generally we have given you 10 working days, but we will try to ensure that you get your answers within maximum of 3 days. Okay, so that you quickly can re-evaluate how you have written. And then there is personalized structure on discussion on structure, content gaps, and technique. Okay, and the best part about this is that this cycle repeats 35 times. So if you are totally disciplined in your life, okay, if you have done nothing and you have just given these 35 days sincerely, you have attended the classes, you have given the tests, you have analyzed your feedbacks, and you have continued the cycle, I can guarantee that by the end of November, you will always be at a better standing than what you are today. In your conceptual clarity, in thinking like geographers, okay, in writing like geographers, okay. Basically, you see, UPSC demands that in optional, the way you write answers, you should have a command of over like BSc, BA, and MA. Okay, that is how they are depending, okay, looking from you. Next, what are the program deliverables, what we are going to give you? First, we will give you study modules, what we call as blueprints. Okay. Here we will do answer writing structure, AWSM classes. Here also you will be given handout. Whatever I will teach in the class, you will receive a handout. Okay. Here the topics will be turned into questions with model scripts. Okay, like simple, I will give you a question in AWSM classes. Key, consider I will give you a map. Consider that this is how the map is drawn. You just come and tell me this is the ocean bottom topography of the Atlantic Ocean, 5 marks. You draw the names. So this way what will happen? You will begin to revise the names. Where is Telegraphic Plateau? Where is Wyville Thompson Ridge? Okay, where is Rio Grande Ridge? Where is Dolphins Ridge? Where is Challengers Ridge? Where is Telegraphic? Okay, so these are the way. Okay, or consider I will simply give you a 5 marker question. I will create table. Okay, consider that I will give you differentiate between deep ecology and shallow ecology. Okay, so introduction you will have to write who was the person who brought the difference, and consider I have just given you the parameters. Here I have given the parameters name. You will have to fill up this, and then we will discuss. Okay. Similarly, consider I am talking you what is DPSIR framework in disaster management. Or they have asked a question on GLOF, how to see GLOF from the DPSIR framework. So if I have understood the DPSIR framework, what is the main aspect is that now any disaster they ask me, now I have a basic framework to write DPSIR framework. So basically this is how I am going to teach you in AWSM classes. After this, what we are going to do, there are 35 dot mini tests. Okay, here you see. These mini tests will have 7 questions every day. 7 questions will have minimum 3 to 4 PYQ. Okay, and we will try to cover as many topics that they have mentioned in the syllabus. Every topic there will be one question. So even if you do not have content, every one single question itself will act as a content for you. Okay, consider these are for those people who are working as well, okay, and who do not have enough time, or people who are running out of time, who are in their 5th attempt, 6th attempt, okay, who are struggling with geography and have yet not understood exactly what should be the content. Okay, so this is how we will help you here through mini tests. Then there is 6 revision plus 2 full length tests. Here after every 2 weeks there will be a revision test, okay, where we will cover the complete topics comprehensively. In all these we will have PYQ integration and one-on-one mentorship. Next. Basically what we are going to do together. Okay, we will discuss every concept through questions that just now we have seen. Consider we will pick up a concept. We are picking up a concept of pressure belts. So I hope you all know pressure belts. How have you read in your foundation? What are pressure belts? Can I say the idea begins from the insulation. Then there is vertical partitioning of insulation. As it reaches the earth, okay, can I say some can be slanting, some can be direct. Because of this, can I say there is this temperature distribution, right? With this temperature distribution, can I say pressure zones are created, and with this pressure zones, pressure belts are created. So if I just ask you a question, tell me the method to write that pressure belts are shifting. Or consider I give you a question that pressure belts are theoretically fixed but dynamically shifting. Examine. Good. So can I say here I should have talked first I should have talked about yes, pressure belts. So here I will teach you pressure belts as, okay, pressure belts. We will see how Trevartha has defined the pressure belts. Okay, then we will see how it is theoretically fixed. Theoretically fixed, we know we must draw the diagram of the 7 pressure belts. Okay, theoretically fixed. Here we should mention Hadley and Ferrell. It is there found. Okay. Once we have talked, then we will talk that it is dynamically fixing. In this dynamically fixing, how to write? What should be the structure? First, we should talk about seasonal. Seasonal basically because of apparent movement of the sun, that is winter solstice, summer solstice. Can I say here one example case study we can give of monsoon, where the thermal equator can stretch up to 24 degree north. Can I say second example I can give upon is Mediterranean. This is all because of the apparent movement of the sun. This is apparent movement of the sun ke karan. But in seasonal, can I say because of land-sea thermal contrast. You see how am I writing land-sea thermal contrast, thermal equator. So this is what geography is. Geography does not merely means drawing diagrams. It means using technical language. Can I say the pressure belts are fixed zones, like you see Azores High, as Icelandic lows, Mascarene High. Okay, so that these are discrete zones that develops. So this is also dynamic. Earlier it was belt. Then we have seen that it becomes discrete zones on the planet. So, okay. Once we have seen seasonal, second we should talk about is interannual. So do you see the heading how we are creating? Geography means time, even in temporal aspects, we are seeing how the variations are taking place. Interannual, can I say, here the reason why it is happening is because of teleconnections modulations. In the teleconnections modulations, can I say, the answer here we are talking about is ENSO. How El Nino and during La Nina, the high pressure and the low pressure witness a seesaw measures. So it is, can I also say, the pressure belt is no more fixed. It can vary. It can witness a seesaw measure. So basically now this question needs to have this structuring. So this is the kind of structuring we will pick up topic wise, and we will try to see that how to develop better structures. Okay? Like you see, next. Integrate previous year's questions. Like today, first question we will pick up here is, we will solve the question on compage, which was asked in the year 2016. And it is nothing but, can you tell me from which concept does it belong to? Regional geography, regional approach of areal differentiation. This is regional geography idea hai, compage kya hota hai. Okay? Can I say blueprints we have already seen? Solve probable questions. The topics which have not been asked by the UPSC for the last 5 to 6 years, so they becomes highly probable to appear in the paper. Or there are certain concepts which gets repeated almost every year, like the concept of air mass. You will see almost every year they are asking the concept of air masses. The mechanism of monsoon, after every 2 years you will find this question. Compare and contrast temperate cyclone and thermal tropical cyclones, very much. Now they have entered temperate cyclones very deeper. Like they have asked what is axis of dilation. So now I should know 2 more concepts. I should know the concept of barometric slope. I should know the concept of baroclinic slopes, or what is baroclinic theory. Okay, so now since axis of dilation has appeared, this means the probable question next is baroclinic theory. Okay, you see, then probable questions how to solve. You see, in 2017 they asked that discuss the forces that govern the movement of air. Okay, and then last year they have asked you to discuss the concept of geometric, geostrophic winds and barometric slope. So what is this barometric slope? PGF, pressure gradient force itself is known as barometric slope. Okay, so if you would have solved that 2017 question, the forces that govern the movement of air, and if there would have read PGF, geostrophic winds, then you would have been able to solve this 10 marker question very easily. Okay? Next. Learn to write technically. This is the most important part. Precision in terminology. How to use location and space, tell me. Where to use location in geography and where to use space in geography? Location is from the quantitative revolution view, objective view, where I will just say that Delhi is like a coordinate on the locational spatial analysis unit. But space has humanistic touch. Okay, like topophilia or Wi-Fi Tuan, concept of place and placelessness of Ralph. Okay, so this is the difference now. Kab location likhu, kab space likhu. For you, it is very easy. You could have said कि ये दोनों एक ही है मेरे लिए तो. But जो examiner है उसको दिख रहा है कि candidate को फिर location और space का clarity नहीं पता चल रहा है इसको. Clear आ रहा है कि how to write the answers differently. Like you see, areal differentiation also. What is the concept of region? What is the concept of regional geography? What is the concept of regionalization? All are different. Regional geography is different, regionalization is different. Regionalization is a methodology and regional geography is an approach. So what is the difference between approach and methodology? So what is the difference between dichotomy and dualism? So if there is dichotomy and dualism, what are the different areas where we have seen? Can I say it? the dichotomy and dualism depends on so-called subject matter, so-called approach, so-called methodology, so-called philosophy, all where we will see. So last year they have asked a 20 marker question. So this is how exactly subject matter, within subject matter, what is this physical geography, human geography. Within human geography, two approaches, determinism, possibilism. So first we would have talked about physical geography, human geography. Second, and here we will talk about Varenius. Second, we will talk about possibilism and determinism. Here we will talk about Ratzel, Huntington. Here we will talk about Ellen Semple. Here we will talk about Vidal de la Blas. Here we will talk about Lucien Febvre. So these names you are supposed to drop, generate their why, these names, and your answers. These questions were very easy to score. Okay. Next. Frameworks to develop answers. Just now we have seen the framework. Like you see, can I say one of the best framework for disaster management that we will develop is DPSIR. Then one of the frameworks for ecosystem. Okay, ecosystem. So how to see the concept of ecosystem? First we will see the ecosystem theory given by Odom. Then we will see Holling's resilience theory. How he will third, we will see what we called as CBD, Convention on Biological Diversity. 12, they have come up with 12 Malawi principles for the ecosystem approach. So now you see UPSC would like to see whether are you updated with these new emerging concepts of ecosystem or not. Like they ask you critically examine the ecosystem based approach. So this is theoretical aspect. And if I have to talk about applied examination, can I say in situ, ex situ conservation? Okay. Next is learn to develop case studies. Have you seen this year? This year they asked a question to discuss one more framework. I will come back to this framework. Like you see, tell me a framework that you should deploy for deforestation. If they ask a question in deforestation in paper 1, or they ask a question in deforestation in Himalayas, deforestation in mountain ecosystem, deforestation in Western Ghats, deforestation in Purvanchal Hills, क्या लिखूं मैं? ठीक है? When I say there is a framework means कि there should be some model. Someone should have developed a framework. There is a framework given by Geest and Lambin. Geest and Lambin framework. Okay. Here he talk about first is proximate causes. Here the cause is distal causes. इस proximate causes में मतलब है कि what are the driving forces? Like, can I say expansion of agriculture? Can I say here mining? Can I say here illegal felling? Okay, because tribals have not been incorporated in the forest management framework. Distal causes means what are the underlying factors? Can I say economic? Demand of illegal goods coming from the European economies. Social, because the tribal people have yet not been given the claims under various legislations. Political, समझ रहे? तो अब ये मैं हिमालय में भी डालूंगा, ये मैं यहां भी डालूंगा, और ये प्रॉपर ज्योग्राफी दिख रहा है. यही क्वेश्चन इस बार यूपीएससी asked in 2025. I would have just deployed this Geest and Lambin framework, and then they said that you have to substantiate your answers through 2 case studies. That is Amazon and Congo. So now the importance of case studies. Okay. Like you say, I'll give you a case study. Okay. The concept of watershed has become very important. Right? Watershed, we know it is a geo-hydrological spatial planning unit. okay, where land, soil, water and biomass is integrated so as to ensure ecological integrity. Okay. So here what is watershed? So consider we are doing a case study of revival of river Arwari. Alwar by NGO Tarun Bharat Sangh. So now basically what they did, consider this is Alwar. Alwar is surrounded by mountain zones. Consider, are you seeing this platform? Do you see this is mountain, mountain, mountain? The plateau here, the plain here is Alwar. Consider that now this is a river which has numerous tributaries. So basically you see this is water divide. I hope you all know what is water divide. Okay. So now you see, can I say if I have to revive a river or any river, what should I do? Where should I target? Consider you are a bureaucrat and government has given you a responsibility to revive a river, which is, we know in India numerous rivers are dying because of climate change. So what to do now? What exactly, what is, if this is the problem statement, what is the one approach to solution? Recharge the groundwater. Have you heard about Mihir-Shah committee? Mihir-Shah committee says that when the world looks groundwater and surface water as two different units, we fail in our policy making. Because groundwater and surface water are integrated. It is the groundwater, consider this is a river valley, it is the groundwater that provides water to the river valleys. So tomorrow if the groundwater goes down, river will dry up. So my task here was to revive the groundwater. So now this was done under the waterman of India, that is Dr. Rajendra Singh Rana, also Magsaysay Award winner. So what he did, he will take three measures. First, what he will do? First, he will do extensive afforestation in the upper catchment area. Extensive afforestation. Can I say with this extensive afforestation, can I say surface runoff has decreased? Right? Can I say groundwater percolation? Now tell me, should I use infiltration or should I use percolation? Groundwater infiltration or groundwater percolation has increased? Infiltration. Infiltration is at the surface. और जब ये surface के देखो, remember now the difference between these two technical words. If the water is moving inside from the surface, this is infiltration. And if it is moving deeper, this is percolation. Moving towards the deep aquifers. So here groundwater infiltration increases. Second, what he will do? Second step, this was the first step, one. Second step, what he did, he created numerous check dams, burns. Okay, more than 2,400 check dams and burns. Can I say as a result what will happen here? Here the water will begin to impound. The water impounds. As a result, can I say again groundwater recharge hone laga? Everywhere water is impounding, it is seeping inside the ground. And third, what he did, he promoted agroforestry. That is again afforestation in the plain zones. C is agroforestry. So now what happened? Because of A plus B plus C, groundwater recharge increased. As a result, what happened? Now consider that this is the river. This is the river Arvari. Earlier the groundwater was here. Slowly and gradually groundwater began to rise. As the groundwater began to rise, the river Arvari emerged. So do you see now such case studies? You see, remember one thing in UPSC, there is a difference between writing optional and GS. While we write GS, we bombard with bullets, 12 bullet, 10 bullet, 15 bullet, 16 bullet. This is not we do in optional. In 10 marker question, you are not supposed to write 9 bullets. Write only 4, but with proper understanding. With proper writing, case studies. Okay, this shows that you see why it is very important to understand in optional is that they want you to be on a researcher side. Researcher side means researchers will not research complete geography. Researchers have their own specializations. Okay, so here if I am writing only 4 to 5, this means that it shows to the examiner that the candidate has specialization in some of these aspects. So you will be judged accordingly. Don't think that I am writing less bullets so I will not get marks. वो नहीं concept होना चाहिए optional में. ये clarity रखनी चाहिए proper. Okay, ठीक है? So we have seen ki how I will deploy numerous case studies I will give you. I will give you case studies on Congo, on Amazon, on water depletion, on saline ingress, okay, malnutrition. Next. And then one-on-one guidance. We have already seen this. Okay. We will cover paper 1, paper 2, everything. For paper 1 explicitly, we have given you 21 AWSM. And here there is 14. Okay. This is 21 and this is 14. Okay. And for optional simulators, they have full length. Okay, where you will truly simulate yourself close to the exam. Now, why case studies win marks? Okay, have you understood that the concept of airshed has emerged? Airshed based governance. Why? What is airshed? सोचो अभी पढ़ाया हूं मैं. Just now I have taught you. Watershed. Now instead of water, what it is? Airshed. So watershed, what was watershed? Watershed was a geohydrological spatial unit. This means if this is a unit and consider that this is a mountain. Okay, consider that this is the complete mountain. This is the water divide. And this region here is complete a mountain. So can I say any water droplet that falls here ultimately will get channelized, and ultimately any water droplet that falls within the water divide will ultimately get channelized through one outlet. That is what is the concept of watershed. And we are using this very unit as a planning unit. In recent times, what the problem emerged, that after NCAP came, NCAP, National Clean Air Program, the aim was to reduce the pollution of PM10 and PM2.5 in 131 non-attainment cities. Right? But here you see they have failed drastically. Why? Because here the majority of the measures have been focused towards the city jurisdiction. City ke jurisdiction, along the cities. But majority of the times we have seen that the pollutants which emerges are beyond the city. Can I say stubble burning in Haryana, Punjab region? Whatever government does in Delhi, but if you are not solving the issue here, it will not get solved. Can I say, if Aravali's desertification continues or cutting of Aravali's continues, the sandstorms will now enter towards Delhi NCR regions. This year sandstorm has appeared in Churu. Okay, so we will also see sandstorm kya hai. So tell me now, if I have used sandstorm, so what concept of climatology should be appear in my paper? Absolute and conditional instabilities. SALR, DALR, ELR. Now you become geographer. The moment you begin to see any current affairs method and you quickly can play that which subject exactly, which topic it is. So now what we have done, basically Uttar Pradesh is the first state who has adopted a airshed based approach. So now Uttar Pradesh is adopting it for the complete Uttar Pradesh. So now there are numerous cities in Uttar Pradesh. Can I say Noida, Kanpur, Lucknow, Prayagraj, Varanasi, Meerut, Gwalior, no, Gwalior not, sorry, Jhansi. So now what they were saying, that the pollution, if they begin to contain the pollution only in the cities, it is impossible. The approach should deploy a concept called shared meteorology. Shared meteorology. Shared meteorology means World Bank has defined airshed based as the regions which have shared meteorology, where the pollutants mixes, disperses and provides similar air for everyone. मतलब है कि यहां भी थोड़ा पोल्यूशन हुआ, यहां भी पोल्यूशन हुआ, लेकिन हवा पूरी मिल गई और अब सबको बराबर का हवा मिल रहा. So can I say it is promoting equitable justice, or I can say equitable environmental justice? Okay, so this is what is called as airshed based approach. This is a good question they can ask you in this year GS1 only. Airshed based approach. So what now, this is how a case study I am drawing. I have written UP, I have drawn this map, I have depicted here is stubble burning, green revolution areas, here is stubble burning. So basically what are the measures that the UP government is deploying? UP government first is deploying clean cooking for everyone. So can I now, he is targeting the complete emission, clean cooking for everyone. That is LPG connection. Second, he is talking about promotion of EV vehicles in all the cities and peri-urban areas. Second, remove the old fleets, close to 17,000 vehicles. All old fleets you have to remove, which are based on diesel and highly polluting. Okay. And then third, incentives for the farmers to stop stubble burning. Okay. And then they will shift MSMEs towards cleaner energies. So I have drawn this map. I have written the 5 pillars. This is my case study, airshed based approach adopted by UP. So now this shows the examiner that he has a content. Okay. He has the content. He has the case studies, means he shows that the depth of the people, that the pollution here now has become regional and not city level. It is no more city level. The pollution, if you see the satellites image, the satellites image shows that the complete Indo-Gangetic plain always gets covered with smoke. Now this is how we will talk. We will, in the reports, we'll talk about outcomes, mechanisms, name the institutions, data, report, so as to, okay. Like you see, I will try to give some things like this also. I will try to just draw, I will give the map and I will draw this. There were total 6 concentric zones. You tell me what are, write the names. What are the 6 concentric zones? Perishable and market gardening. Okay, first is perishable and market gardening. Second is forestry, timber. What is third? Land without following, because here the inputs are costly. This is why. What is next? Agriculture with fallow. That is 3 system, rye plus fallow plus grain, and then livestock ranching. So if I give you such diagrams and where you have to fill, can I say it will enhance your recalling strength? Okay, so I will deploy in such some exams, or in AWSM classes, I will deploy this. I will give you, now then first I will give you, write the assumptions. Tell me what are the assumptions? Quick recall. Can I say first here we are talking about homogeneous surface? Okay. Can I say it is saying that there is only one market, single market? Third, can I say there is only one vehicle, that is bullock cart, through which? Next, can I say the man is rational and economic and will always try to follow the minimum path so as to reduce the transportation cost? So these are here. There is no competition. So he is considering only one market. Can I say the moment I have read this, can I say कि the criticisms arises from here itself? ठीक है? Next. So here once I have given you this, you have written the assumptions, you have drawn the diagram, you have labeled it, all within 90 seconds time limit. Okay, and then I will ask you, could you tell me what is land rent gradient? Okay, what is economic cost? There are few concepts that I should remember here. What is isolated state? 10 marks question must be ready. What is economic rent concept? 10 marks must be ready. Critically examine the concept of von Thunen, 20 marks ready. Relevance of von Thunen in the present times, 15 marks ready. Okay, and then ultimately how to deploy the principles of pattern of land use plus intensity of land use in paper 2. So we will see the emergence of MSP regime, contract farming, irrigation availabilities. All these have disrupted the von Thunen model in Indian context. Contract farming तो पूरा disrupt कर दिया. Can I say कि in okay, livestock ranching was the outermost zone. But now what has happened, if I consider is Lays has come and Lays has signed an contract agreement with farmers where it has to deploy perfect sizes potatoes to the Lays company. Can I say that now this has disrupted? Potato should have been grown here, nearby regions, but now potato is being grown there. Because now farmers do not have to worry. Here the market itself is coming to farmers, that is Lays itself is coming to procure. Lays is providing credit, Lays is providing technology, everything. So here through various examples from here and there, we will read. Okay, and then contemporary relevance. That von Thunen rings around Mumbai and Bengaluru. Okay, around mostly and linked to peri-urban dairy belts. This is one of the best relevance, even to recent days. Okay, next. Let us solve some questions. You see, I will not take much. I have come up with 9 questions. We will solve as much questions as possible. Okay, and we will see exactly what we are supposed to write. Here, in this, our main aim will be to identify the demand, to identify the framework, and the case studies each one needs. The most important here is demand bhai. After demand framework, and with these case studies, you depict to the examiner the depth of your knowledge. Okay? So here basically with this lecture, we are warming up. Next. Discuss the idea of compage. So what is compage? Simple question. This was asked in the year 2016, 10 marks. So I'm giving you 1 minute. Think. Can I say first, here simple. Can I say that this is a technical term? Technical term means ki now I should say ki the concept of compage was given by Derwent-Whittlesey. Derwent-Whittlesey in the year 1954 in the American Geography. He was, I'll give you a context for the concept bata deta hu. You see, do you remember that after 1939, Hartstone will come up with a book, Nature of Geography, Perspectives in the Nature of Geography, where he will go through all the regional approaches that the geographers have done throughout the history. Finally, he will say that the Hettner's chorological approach, where in a real unit, establishing causal relations between different elements is the most developed approach, and thus this becomes the core of geography. Okay, then Schaeffer will quickly come, 1953. Hartstone-Schaeffer debate will follow. Schaeffer will demand the geographers that if you truly want to become science, then you have to develop universal laws and theories similar to that of science. So here what will happen, the regional geography will begin to reach its apogee. Okay, why? Basically what happened during World War II, when all were called so as to contribute towards the efforts of World War II, climatologists, oceanographers, geologists, everyone contributed, but the regional geographers, they failed. So once regional geographers failed, so in USA a committee was established, Committee on Regionalization, which was being headed by Derwent-Whittlesey. Okay, during this Committee on Regionalization, Derwent-Whittlesey read all the different kind of regions that have been developed, and then he come up with the idea of compage. So basically compage is the aerial expression. Aerial, you see how we are supposed to write, right? Compage is the aerial expression of the totality of interrelated physical and cultural features that gives character and coherence to an area. Okay, so this is basically, or you another line, if you are still not understanding, you write it. So samjhata hu. Do you remember the context? In which context he is giving the idea of compage? Where regional geographers have failed. Okay, he is reading all the regions. Then you see the idea of compage was central to solve the central methodological debate, which was of the Richard Hartstone's Nature's Book in Geography. He came up with a debate that how to synthesize heterogeneous elements like economy, polity, air, water, transportation, IT, culture. There are numerous factors. Now, how to ensure that if I consider I am picking up Bundelkhand region, or consider I am picking up the plateau of Telangana plateau, or consider I am picking up Rayalaseema of Andhra Pradesh. So in this Rayalaseema region, how to synthesize all these heterogeneous products into one, so that ultimately it does not reduces geography to a mere list of inventorization of facts. रादर ऐसा नहीं लगना चाहिए कि रायलसीमा रीजन में पहाड़ है, नदी है, ये हवा है, ये सॉइल का है, इतना बारिश होती है, इतना धूप आती है, यहाँ जंगल है. Geography should not look like this. Rather, geography should say something. These elements must be synthesized. Compage is the solution to that. So now, you write, compage are the regions identified. Compage are the regions identified on the basis of selective criteria. On the basis of selective criteria that show functional association with human occupancy of the Earth's surface. Okay? Now you see. Basically, during that committee on regionalization, Derwent Whittlesey will see three types of regions. Okay? Monocriteria region. He finds monocriteria region, multiple criteria region, and pure regions. Monocriteria region means single parameter. Can I say Köppen's climatic classification, only talking about climate? So here is single parameter, okay, where region has been identified based on one criteria, like Köppen's climatic classification. Here, in multiple criterias, those criterias which have important interlinkage with humans, are chosen. This is what he called as compage. So here what he is saying, partial chorology is being achieved. Partial chorology is being achieved. And finally, he talks about the pure regions. Pure regions means regions chosen primarily for functionality. Basically, here what he is saying, where pure chorology is achieved. Jahan pe, okay, remember, here you see difference. Here is picking up one parameter. Here is picking up only those parameters which have important interlinkage. Here all parameters have been interlinked, right? Pure means all parameters have been interlinked. Thus we are calling it as pure chorology. Clear हो रहा है concept? Concept clear होना चाहिए. If the concepts gets clear कि how limited parameters compage होगा. Compage, so this means it is partial chorology. And when I'm saying that if I pick up this room and I say this electricity, this fan, this air, this table, this chair, this wall, this, everything has been interlinked. This is pure chorology. So once we have seen this, then you see we will give a case study. Okay? Now once we have written, you see, we have given definition, we have talked about types, we have defined what is compage. Okay? So now case study will talk about the Great Plains. The Great Plains compage. Now can you say, now tomorrow in paper 2, if you write, can you write the Indo-Gangetic compage? Can you write the Deccan Plateau compage? The Himalayan compage? Ab dekho kaise. Now your paper 2 itself, it will become like you are writing geography. And then you will write same thing. So the Great Plains compage, what he did was, we know this side it is Rockies. This is Rockies. It is here that is the Great Plains. This is the Great Plains. So here he says that what are the factors that distinguishes it from, this is corn belt. This is corn belt of USA. So what are the factors? Like you see, first I will write what are the factors he is picking up. We have seen compage means multiple criterias, but not all criterias. So he is picking up, first he is talking about that semi-arid climate. Semi-arid climate plus Chernozem or chestnut soil plus prairies, grasses plus wheat cattle economy, plus dispersed settlements, plus railway based grain, circulation. Railway based grain circulation. So he says that it is these factors that he have chosen differentiates Great Plains from the Rockies and the Corn Belt of the USA. ये कंपेज हो गया एक रीजन में रीजनलाइजेशन, रीजनल ज्योग्राफी. So this is a case study. Now I have chosen this case study from the book itself, that Committee on Regionalization. The case study he chose to prove it. This is the case study. Remember now how you can use the compage word, the Great Plains compage, the Indo-Gangetic compage. Then can I say that once I have written this, I have given a case study, I should have talked about significance. Yes, and then a critique and then conclusion. So significance you write. Compage provided a rigorous methodological debate. Compage provided a rigorous methodological debate between systematic and regional geography. Between systematic and regional geography. And provided conceptual legitimacy to the region as an object of study, rather than an arbitrary administrative convenience. Okay. Now here you see I am not writing bullet wise. See, I have given heading significance, and I have written like a proper paragraph. But can I say in this paragraph I have written 2 significance? It is a 10 marker question. Now you write critique. You write being multi-factor, comma, compage boundaries are inherently fuzzy and transitional. Comma, the choices of criterias is subjective, right? You can choose some other criteria, I can choose some other criteria, he can choose some other criteria while reading the same Great Plains of USA. And it struggles with dynamic and rapidly changing functional reasons in a globalized networked world. In a globalized networked world. Clear? Any doubt? Do you understand what is functional unit? Functional region? Can I say this page becomes very difficult in a globalized world? The page itself is changing. The criteria itself, consider that today I have classified a region based on 5 criteria. And after 5 years, because of globalization and interconnected mobility, I can say that 2 factors have become irrelevant and 3 factors needs to be incorporated. So can I say the concept is very dynamic, but page is a bit static in nature. So this is how the concept needs to be written. So any question I will teach you that how to ensure that it gets reflected in your paper 2 as well. हर एक कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ पेपर 1 हम अपने उसी टाइम में पेपर 2 करेंगे. जनरली हाउ फैकल्टीज और हाउ इट इज बीइंग टॉट दैट दे विल टीच यू पेपर 1 and then they will teach you paper 2. And in paper 2 totally becomes GS then. But here you see geography means if I have studied page, that very day now we should discuss how to use these words into paper 2. Read this question. This was the question which was 15 marker question. 25. Can you see this question is very tough? Not tough. It is tough. It is not tough, true, but the wordings they have placed is looking very difficult. How do regional components make the regional synthesis in spatial arrangement explain? Can I say कि somewhere I have read the अभी थोड़ा region समझ में आ गया, so अभी थोड़ा question clarity में हो रहा होगा. It is a bit clearer if I have the concept of region clarity है थोड़ा. A real differentiation, I know regional geography, I know page, I know multiple criteria, mono criteria, pure regions, I know functional regions, idea, clarity I have. Then, but it is the question is from regional synthesis. Regional synthesis is the raison d'etre of geography. Now, these words you will have to mug up. Raison d'etre means, it is a German word, it means purpose. It is the purpose of geography. So can I say that this is what, can I say regional synthesis is nothing but chorology? Study of chorology is Hettner's chorology is regional synthesis. Chorology पता है क्या है? अब यही है, जितना ज्यादा कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर है मैं उतना ज्यादा तुम वर्ड यूज करोगे. कोरोग्राफी मीन्स कंसिडर कि यू वेंट टू सो कॉल्ड अफ्रीका. Okay, in Africa you saw that okay, there is Atlas Mountain, there is Drakensberg, this is Nile River, this is Niger River, this is Congo River, there is Darfur region, here is Sahara Desert, Equatorial Rainforest, Namib, Kalahari, Great Karoo, and Serengeti ecosystem, Somalian highlands. So it is just chorography. You have written everything. But chorology means कि I am saying कि why the soil here, if I am talking about this, why the soil of the equatorial region is infertile. Until now, about this region, we were only saying that soil is infertile, rainfall is more than 250 centimeters throughout the year, temperature almost remains high, close to 26 to 27 degrees throughout the year. So now the question is saying why infertile? जब यहाँ पे ये क्वेश्चन आएगा ना कि why, so now I will, can I say कि I will have to establish causal relationship first. First I will say that because of high temperature and high humidity, the growth of microbial organisms are high. right? So now what will happen ki though there is so much of trees, when these trees will fall, the decomposition rate is going to be faster because microbial actions are stronger. Now the humus is getting degraded quicker. The moment it gets degraded quicker, there is heavy rainfall. As the rainfall comes, the rainfall leaches away all the minerals and quickly leaches down. As a result, the top layer of the soil in the African regions are rendered as infertile. Right? So now can I say that this is our relationship between temperature, rainfall, vegetation and soil? ये जो रिलेशन बनाया ना मैंने, पानी के कारण माइक्रोबियल पानी आया ले गया, ये हुई कोरोलॉजी. कोरोग्राफी का मतलब था सिर्फ लिखना, कोरोलॉजी का मतलब है उन सब में एक कहानी बनाना. इसके कारण, और द वर्ड ऑलवेज रिमेंबर, कोरोलॉजी कुड सिंपली बी अंडरस्टूड by understanding the establishment of causal relationships between various regional components. So now do you see? So can I say that now this statement is exactly chorology? Causal relationship between various regional components. Regional components make the regional synthesis. Clear ho raha hai? So now you have understood these concept. So now I am bringing you towards regional synthesis. Okay? Hart shown in his book Nature of Geography. Okay? You right? I'll give you a definition, then I will explain. You write regional synthesis is an integrated spatial unit. Is an integrated spatial unit in which physical and human components interlock to produce a distinct aerial personality. Have you understood what I'm trying to say here? What I'm trying to say here, that consider I have taken the Indo-Gangetic plains. This side we know it is Himalayas. This side we know it is the peninsular plateau. Peninsular plateau. So now it is saying that how to integrate the physical factors here, that is soil, that is rivers, that is plains, that is rainfall. Now how to integrate these with human factors, that is what is the agriculture here, what kind of industries are located in Indo-Gangetic plains, what kind of transportation has developed here, what kind of urbanization is taking place. So he says that when these components are integrated into a unit, when I pick up a unit, so as to, and once I create this causal relationship, then what I say that it gives a unique face of Indo-Gangetic plains. This unique face distinguishes itself from the other regions. क्या मैं बोल सकता हूं, because there is so much plains and there is so much rivers, can I say that transportation system here is much more networked and diverse than the Himalayan and the peninsular plateau? Can I say inland navigation will be much more developed in the plains than this and this? तो क्या मैं बोल सकता हूं ये इनके फीचर्स के कारण इंडो-गैंगेटिक प्लेन्स हिमालय और पेनिनसुलर प्लेटो से अलग दिख रही है. ये है रीजनल सिंथेसिस. कि कोई भी यूनिट पकड़ूं मैं, उसमें अगर ह्यूमन आई हैव पिक्ड अप ह्यूमंस एंड आई हैव पिक्ड अप फिजिकल फैक्टर्स एंड ह्यूमन फैक्टर्स, एंड इफ आई एम एस्टैब्लिशिंग अ कॉजल रिलेशनशिप, हाउ दिस फाइनल रिजल्ट establishes a very distinct aerial personality of that region from the surrounding regions. So next you write, regional synthesis is the methodological process. Regional synthesis is the methodological process emphasized by Genere de Valle of Vidal de la Blas, Genere de Valle of Vidal de la Blas, comma, chorology of Hittner, chorology of Hittner, and regional areal differentiation and areal differentiation of Richard Hartsoe. Or better to write regional approach of Richard Hartsoe. Regional approach of Richard Hartsoe. So you write next one line. As per Hartsoe, in the nature of geography, as per Hartsoe, in the nature of geography, the nature of geography is book name, so it is capital. The nature of geography is the study of areal differentiation. Geography is the study of areal differentiation. Where synthesis converts isolated elements into an organized whole. Can I say this line is much more clearing out the picture for us? These are isolated elements, soil isolated, river isolated, plain isolated, rainfall isolated. But when I begin to integrate everything, I see that here it is plains, numerous rivers are there. The rainfall and the temperature pattern varies, semi-arid to humid to sub-humid to arid. All these have resulted into various kind of agricultural practices, commercial, subsistence. It has resulted into population distribution. This have in turn ensured what kind of industries are located. ये सब कुछ interrelated हो रहा है. अब मुझे clear picture हो रहा है. So it converts isolated units into an organized whole. So now, once I have given the introduction like this for this, okay, so now I have to see three things are there. One is regional component. Make the regional synthesis in spatial arrangement. Yani ki, let me explain you the question. It is saying that if I am picking up spatial arrangement means it is talking about spaces on the planet. Okay, consider ki this is I am picking up Africa. If I am picking up Africa, consider I am picking that this is Sahara. Okay, Sahara. Consider this I have picked up, this is equatorial rainforest. This is Sahara. This is equatorial rainforest. Then can I say कि here again there is Kalahari and Namib? Can I say this here is savanna grasslands? Then here there is Atlas Mountain, Somalian Plateau, Drakensberg Plateau. Okay, now you see. Then it is saying spatial arrangement. This is one space, this is space 1. I am taking desert as space 1. This is space 2. This is space 2. This is space 3. This is space 4. This is space 5. Okay? पहले क्वेश्चन समझो, then you see, even if you wouldn't have any words, through examples you would have scored marks. Okay, so now you see most of the times you would think that how to bring diagrams or bring more applied part in perspectives in geography. अगर तुम्हारे पास conceptual clarity है, did you see what we did with the Great Plains Compage? Here we will do the equatorial, the Amazon Compage. We ourselves will give a heading the Amazon Compage, or we will give heading the Savannah Compage or the Kalahari Compage. ठीक है? Now, first we have picked up spatial arrangement. So can I say there are arrangements? It is an arrangement. Then it is saying how do regional components. So consider I am picking up equatorial rainforest. So can I say कि here I have to talk about, you tell me what are the regional components. Regional components, this means I have to talk about physical factor, human factor. That is, it is soil, what is the temperature, what is the rainfall, what is the vegetation, what is the drainage, everything. Similarly, these are the regional components. And once I have picked up any space, and then when I have picked up these regional components, now you tell me regional synthesis कैसे बन रहा है? Organized whole. Can I say कि spatial arrangement simple means कि here I am taking, do you want to write any of this or written? Done? Here I can say कि here I can talk about agriculture, here I can talk about lifestyle, livelihood, agriculture, industries. Here I can talk about urbanization. Here I can talk about transportation. Now you see, quick, we're moving quick. Now you see simple, this question what it means. When I say spatial arrangement, it is the utensil. Which utensil are you choosing? Okay, tawa choosing, kadhai choosing, or that Chinese utensil choosing. Here regional components means tell me what are the ingredients you are choosing. Vegetables, masala, all different kind. And regional synthesis means tell me कि what is the food or what is the cuisine you have created. Can I say कि different hotels have different butter chicken, different paneer masala? तो यही कहानी पूछी जा रही है. अब इसको explain कर दो. So now you see, once we have seen this, once we have given the introduction, now the introduction done, then you give what are regional components. Okay, regional components, you pick up one region, okay, like consider equatorial rainforest, and you talk physical component, human component. Okay, you could have done anything. You could have picked up the Patagonia Plateau, you could have picked up the Nunavut region of Canada, you could have picked up the Siberian region. Now we will talk about how regional synthesis. Why am I drawing this? Because the question is saying spatial arrangement. So regional synthesis has to be read under 4 pillars. Always remember. Regional synthesis को बोलते हैं, simple है कि all different kinds of approaches in geography should be synthesized. Can I say physical geography is one approach, human geography is one approach, studying region is one approach, and fourth is historical approach. That is to bring time. So here you see what we will do. Okay, it is integration of all 4. So basically, you see, regional synthesis has 4 components. First is vertical unit, vertical integrity, vertical unity. Then we call it horizontal unity. Then we call as aerial gradient or coherence. Okay, and coherence. Fourth, we are calling it genetic dimension. Okay, temporal genetic dimension. Vertical unity, horizontal unity, a real gradient and coherence, and temporal genetic dimension. These are my 4 headings. अब मैं क्या करूंगा? Slowly and gradually, first I will write vertical unity, and then I will show what is vertical unity. Then horizontal. Okay, so let us pick one by one. First, we are doing vertical unity. In vertical unity, consider I have picked up a region here, that is Patagonia. I have picked up Patagonia Plateau. This means कि here I have written कि I have physical elements, I have human elements. So here within for this only I will try to establish correlation. Okay, you write, okay. Vertical integration means, simple example, vertical integration. The integration of physical and human elements within the spatial unit, within a particular spatial unit. For example, can I say Vidal's genere de voix? Example, Vidal genere de voix shows how community organizes itself, or how community organizes its livelihood in response to the nature. Okay. So चलिए यहाँ पे I'll give you example of northeast. चलिए I will give you example of Arunachal. Now you see how I am bringing India. Can I say here Arunachal itself is a unit, Himalayas, right? So I am doing vertical unity of the region. Vertical unity, can I say here is very heavy rainfall because of monsoon, heavy rainfall, Bay of Bengal branch. Can I say it is mountainous zone? So what has happened here? Terrace farming is done. Terrace farming. Okay. And terrace farming, so basically what terrace farming here? Rice is cultivated. They cannot cultivate wheat. Rice cultivates, rice terrace farming. Heavy Bay of Bengal branch. We call it the Arunachal Pradesh Campage. Or you give the heading in this example case study, the wet rice campage. The wet rice campage of Arunachal Pradesh. Plus, you write why they are going. There is dense population. Also, growth. There is dense population. So there is intensive cultivation. As a result, what has happened? They are doing intensive cultivation. Clear? So remember, vertical unity means only one unit I have chosen. Any one unit. and I am integrating physical and human. Second I am doing here is horizontal integrity. Who has given this horizontal, this and this? Carl Ritter. The concept of vertical unity or unity, it is not integrity, unity, and horizontal unity has been given by Carl Ritter. Here you write, the regional components are bounded, the regional components are bounded by circulation or movement of goods, people, services, okay? Like regional components are bounded. So here basically what we are doing, in horizontal, vertical we have done, we have picked up a region and we have created causal relationships. Here there is one region, region 1, region 2, region 3, region 4, okay? Spatial arrangement is spatial unit 1, spatial unit 2, spatial unit 3, spatial unit 4. The green is showing vertical integration. So here I have done vertical integration. Here I have done vertical integration. Here I have done vertical integration. Now what I am planning to do through red, I am doing integration between them. Integration between them. This red here is known as horizontal unity. Have you understood that difference? So now do you understand how synthesis means? So now these diagrams itself will give you marks. It clarifies to the examiner the conceptual clarity of a candidate. And you yourself will, once you see after you have undertaken such exercises, your writing skills and your understanding skills will advance drastically. So now we have done this. Regional components are bounded by circulation, movement of goods, people and services. Okay. So here, tell me one example. How can we write? Can I say I can talk about Delhi? This is Delhi NCR, Delhi. How Delhi is connected to Meerut? How Delhi is connected to Gurgaon? How Delhi is connected to Sonipat? Or here is Farida, Noida. This is Ghaziabad. Can I say here there is metro movement? This is metro line. That is movement of people. Can I say here there is supply of goods and services from Delhi? Can I say from here there is supply of milk, vegetables, so here I am trying to synthesize the region. So this region together here generally now it is called as Delhi NCR. Delhi NCR region. चलिए, now third we were saying is areal coherence and gradient. Areal coherence and gradient. Here you see in the areal coherence and gradient, I am picking up endogangetic planes. Okay. Can I say this zone here is green revolution zone? This is agricultural zone, green revolution. Can I say here there is this is Delhi NCR zone? This is subsistence farming. So you write here, synthesis produces internal homogeneity or organized heterogeneity. Can I say green revolution is can I say this is a formal region now? This formal region, why? Because there is uniformity, complete agriculture zone. Can I say this here is also a formal region, agriculture zone? Okay, because here there is the components are co-varying uniformly. Here components are varying uniformly. Here. Now can I say that this Delhi is here is functional unit? This is functional unit where what we call it as components are organized around a focus or a node. Components are organized around a node. So can I say that based on this areal differentiation, regional synthesis, can I say that here the endogangetic planes itself will get divided into different regions? तो areal coherence means इसके अंदर का coherence, इसका अपना coherence. Gradient means ये फॉर्मल से होते होते फंक्शनल हो गया, फंक्शनल होने के बाद फिर फॉर्मल हो गया. तो मैं बोल सकता हूं, कैन आई से कि दिस इज ट्रांजिशन जोन. The formal region transitions into functional and then the functional transitions into formal, and then this how it will keep changing. Here there will be Kanpur, here there will be Kanpur zone, here there will be Lucknow zone, here there will be Varanasi, here it will be Patna. So the transition gradient hai. So this is what is this. Okay. Third and fourth here is genetic temporal dimension. genetic temporal dimension. Here we will bring historical approach. Here in the synthesis, we will also bring the historical approach. Basically, what B.G.L. Berry, it was B.G.L. Berry and Hettner as well, who thought of bringing, plus Carl Sauer. Okay, Hettner, Carl Sauer, they all talked about bringing time into this study. So here you see it is B.G.L. Berry who will give a matrix. Consider this is parameter. This is region 1. This is region 2. This is region 3. Region spatial unit. Question what was saying? Regional components leading to regional synthesis in spatial arrangement. Region 1, region 2, region 3 spatial arrangement. Here it is talking about physical geography. Soil, air, water. And then here it is talking about human geography. Human geography. Agriculture, industries, urbanization, transportation. So मान लो transportation है तो transportation, here it is railways, in region 2 it is inland navigation, in region 3 it is airways. Okay. So what he is saying that this is T equals to T1. In T equal to T1 I am saying that यहाँ पे नदी है, river is there, no river is there, river is there. Rainfall heavy, low, poor. But can I say कि this will, is this static? क्या ये static है? नहीं. Can I say today where there is roadways, tomorrow there can be railway? So he says that time should be studied. Now study the same area in T equal to T2. Now study the same idea in T equal to T3. And thus he talks that a study area should be studied through historical basis as well. Can I say if I am talking about the Indo-Gangetic plains, can I say we will have palimpsest of Indo-Islamic architecture? Taj Mahal, Qutub Minar. Can I say कि next when the other culture, that is the Britishers, will arrive, can I say we still have the imprints of Britishers, canals that they have created, the railway system that they have created, the Lutyens Delhi they have created, and now after independence we have seen agriculture, green revolution is a different palimpsest together. So time भी पढ़ो, टाइम भी तुमको बताएगा कि रीजन का सिंथेसिस कैसे होता है. बस ये है रीजनल सिंथेसिस. And thus you can write in conclusion how to write, right? Thus, regional synthesis is the synthesizing lens. Regional synthesis is the synthesizing lens that distinguishes regional geography from purely systematic study. And remains central to understanding a real differentiation. Clear है? It is regional synthesis that is enabling us to understand a real differentiation. सही बात है. रीजनल सिंथेसिस से पता चला कि इंडो गैंगेटिक प्लेन हिमालय से कैसे अलग है, इंडो गैंगेटिक प्लेन पेनिनसुलर प्लेटू से कैसे अलग है. So regional synthesis is the raison d'etre of geography. That is the purpose to study a real differentiation. Third question. So basically this was one of the diagrams which you could have drawn. Okay. Next. Famine is a social phenomenon rooted in the institutional and political economic arrangements which determine access to food by different classes and strata. Comment. So basically what here is comment? Comment means you have to do commentary. Yes, to a very great extent, famine is a social phenomena, but I will say ki it is not only a social phenomena, it is also a biological phenomena. What if tomorrow, because of climate change, the rainfall becomes so erratic that a region witnesses recurrent droughts year on year, like Somalia, Madagascar, or Chad, Mali, Niger? Can I say कि now drought will become inevitable in those regions? जहां पानी ही नहीं हो रही है वहां तो ड्रॉट आएगा ही आएगा. तो मतलब है कि ये जब कमेंट बोल रहा है तो मतलब इट इज सेइंग, यू सी, रिमेंबर, इफ यू हैव स्टडीड famines, you will remember that famines itself, the theories on famines have been divided into two types. One is biological theories, or better to say ecological theories, and another are social theories. So question is saying that you expand the concept of social, but then we will bring ecological and we will say both play critical role, but in recent times majority of the famines are social based. You're right. As per FAOs, so let us first see what is famine. We will write famine as per FAOs, integrated food security phase classification. Food security phase classification, what we call as here is IPC. Famines is IPC phase 5. Famines is IPC phase 5, and it's triggered only when three specific thresholds, are met simultaneously. Three specific thresholds are met simultaneously in an area. 20% of households lack extreme, households face an extreme lack of food. Face an extreme lack of food. Okay? 30% children are suffering from acute malnutrition. Okay? And 2 people per day, per 10,000 people are dying due to starvation or malnutrition. This is exactly what is famine. Okay? So can you say that the moment I'm seeing famine, Malthus should automatically come to my mind? It was Malthus who said that when the food population growth will outgrow the food resources, positive checks in form of famines will come. Okay? But should I begin now Malthus or not now? No, not Malthus now. It is saying comment. The question is social phenomena. So when I am saying social phenomena, you will remember now that the questions of famines are to be understood through three important. One is ecological, that he is making it, okay, that is here I will talk about Malthus. And second is socio-economic theories. Socio-economic theories, this is known as Malthus food availability decline. Food availability decline, FAD hypothesis. FAD hypothesis. Social economic में we'll talk about Michael Watts. MIC Michael Watts, space of vulnerability. And second we'll talk about Amartya Sen's entitlement theory. So let us first talk about Watts, Michael Watts, right? You're right. Michael Watt explained famine as the product of long run structural exposure. Okay. So if I give you, so he basically studied the northern Nigeria. Okay. Michael Watts. Michael Watts, I hope you know what a structuralist. It is under radical geography. Marxist, structuralist and realist. Don't worry. We will cover in class them in detail. There are three types of people in radical geography. So one is a structuralist. Michael Watts studied the northern Nigeria, where he discovered that the colonialism, that European settlers, and the capitalism, that is the core periphery model, where the Nigeria will act as periphery and the European economies will act as core. What they did, they devastated the peasant risk management system. Like, can I say that the Indian traditional agricultural system which was there, it was completely disrupted by the Britishers? So similarly, he is trying to say that how capitalistic and colonial institutions eroded the pre-existing peasant institutions, peasant risk management institutions. You write here, he highlighted how colonialism and capitalism together eroded pre-existing peasant risk management institutions. Pre-existing peasant risk management institutions. In northern Nigeria. So now let us see what is space of vulnerability. Okay, first he talk about here is entitlement and capacity. Second, he talks about here is empowerment and enfranchisement. Here he talk about class and crisis. That is political economy. So basically here what he talks about is the entitlement. Okay. Entitlement that is related to 4 factors. Okay. That is production, trade, labor, inheritance. Production means here basically he is trying to say what one grows. What one grows. Here what one trades. Here is own labor based entitlement. Okay. Or basically wages. Here they are talking about wages. Here it is talking about government grants. Now, can I say that because the arrival of capitalist, what one grow rapidly devastated? Can I say Tinkatia system? Okay. Can I say that indigo was, they were being forced to grow indigo? Example लिखते रहो. Tinkatia system, indigo. Britishers. I am giving you example from India. He applied it in Nigeria, we are applying it in India. Trade, what one grows? Can I say artisans and handicrafts trade, their trade was disrupted? Artisans and handicrafts trade was disrupted. Can I say under permanent settlement and Mahalwari system, wages were very low or not even paid? Forceful evictions, permanent system, Mahalwari system, Rayatwari system. And inheritance, can I say government was giving no subsidies, no grants, because they were perpetual exploiters. No government, no grants, no subsidies, no tax benefits. Okay, now, पहला तो ये, if these 3-4 factors gets disrupted, people is entering the zone of vulnerability, space of vulnerability. This is what we call as the space of vulnerability. Now, what he is talking about when he talks about empowerment and enfranchisement? Can I say this itself can be first showing domestic? Domestic, can I say, because of patriarchal institution, women are always at the exploitative end. If tomorrow there is a food, and if the food is limited, do you agree that the food generally is given more to the boy child than to the girl child? Right? Second, work production politics. Work production politics. Can I say here caste system can enter? Caste based discrimination. Caste based discrimination. Third is, finally here is public civil sphere. Can I say here corruption? Or crony capitalism? Now here in class and this, he says that it is basically talks about ki what kind of production and distribution system exist. It talks, this talks about rights. This talks about entitlement, or choices. And this talks about production and distribution. So if it is a capitalistic society, can I say that distribution gets distorted? So here we can write how commercialization leads to proletarization. Right here, commercialization, arrow. Here I am writing for this. Here, commercialization of agriculture led to proletarization, and this proletarization leads to marginalization. Commercialization leads to proletarization, leads to marginalization. Now, once every three things stuck, or any people can enter this space of vulnerability because of these three zones. Clear dikh raha hai? Here is caste-based discrimination or gender-based discrimination. Here is because they are not allowing me to do trade, I do not have enough wages, and here the government itself is capitalistic, where the welfare policies are not being implemented. So now those regions can witness droughts. Now, this is what we call, now let us see what we call as Amartya Sen's entitlement approach. ये clear हो गया ना? अब इस कैसे social economic phenomena, do you see this? This is socio-economic complete. Everywhere is social economy. Here I am talking about social. Here I am talking about, these are economic factors. Next, Amartya Sen's entitlement approach. Here you see Amartya Sen's entitlement approach. He says that, right, entitlement is the set of alternative bundles of commodities. Entitlement is the set of alternative bundles of commodities. Bracket में, including food, set of commodities, bundles, B-U-N-D-E-L, either bundles or set, bracket including food, that a person can command, or that a person can legitimately command, given the resources they own, So he categorizes four types of entitlements. Okay? He categorizes four types of entitlements. Same. First, production-based entitlement. Have you seen what we have written there? Entitlement on the four of Michael Watts. Those four only. You write somewhere all the four entitlements of Michael Watts. So he says that when these entitlements are threatened, famines aata hai. Okay, so when these entitlements collapses, famine becomes the reality. So you write, as per Amartya Sen, in the book Poverty and Famines 1981, as per Amartya Sen, in the book Poverty and Famines 1981, he emphasized that no famine has ever occurred. No famine has ever occurred in a functioning democracy, with a free press. ठीक है, ये पूरे एग्जाम में ऐसे नहीं लिखना. आई एम टीचिंग यू थ्योरीज. इन एग्जाम यू आर राइटिंग डिफरेंटली. Through this question, I have taught you two important theories of famines. And finally, we will see कि however, apart from socio-economic, because it is saying comment, we will say that ecological factors also play a critical role and bring Malthus, climate change, right? Apart from socio-economic factors, ecological factors critically plays a role. And here we will bring Malthus, food fad hypothesis, climate change, desertification, monsoon variability, so you see generally, once we have written this, then you see famines are generally read from two perspectives. One is temporal perspective. That we have seen what are the major famines. One, there was a major Bengal famine. Okay. Then you see the major famine, there was Great Madras famine. Mostly it was because of the majority of the food was exported. Okay. Then you see the Leap Chinese famine, state policy failure. Again, okay. Then you see Bengal famine. You see in Bengal famine, 3 million people died. What was the main reason? Okay. The food, the majority of the food was diverted to Southeast Asia for war activities. Here the people who were living or who were under government jobs, because they were continuously paid, they did not suffer. So इसमें दिख रहा है कि it is showing that entitlements matters a lot. If your wages were high, you did not suffer. But if your trade disruption, your inheritance disruption, your production disruption, your wage disruption, it causes famine. Once you have written this, you will develop case studies in class. Once I will teach you in detail. Then finally, we will do spatial. In spatial, we know ki what are the regions. These are the regions, Western Africa, because of military coup. Here it is happening is military coup. Then Ukraine, we know, Russia-Ukraine war. Yemen, we know. So this is Ethiopia, then South Sudan, then Afghanistan, then Myanmar. Okay, in present, okay, these are the major regions you will see which are witnessing droughts, famines, spatial context. And can I say the most important one here is Gaza? So here I should have given a case study on Gaza, case study on South Sudan, or case study on Ukraine. Draw a world map and give 3 case studies. Bus. This is how geography is meant to be written. Chaliye, with this we wind up. Okay, I have given you the preview, exactly how we are going to approach. Okay, so tell me, how did you feel? Are your concepts getting clearer, or are you still there where you were before you sat in this class? Better. Okay, chalo, theek hai. More and more 35 days of rigorous training. And basically here you see, I'll try to teach you like a layman. Okay, proper like a layman sikhaunga ki kaise likhna hai. So anyone who generally feels as if they are really struggling very hard, Okay, this course exactly is for you kind of people. Okay, chalo, thank you all.